Coming up on Drama Queens.
One day, I'm gonna play in a movie. And it's gonna be a drama. I'm gonna play an El Salvadorian man, and I'm gonna do it completely straight, and I'm gonna win an Oscar for it. And then they're gonna be like, he's the first El Salvadorian actor to ever win an Oscar. And then everyone will realize that I'm not El Salvadorian, and I'm gonna be like, I don't give a fuck. And then I'll drop the mic.
Oh my God. The biggest thing that people wanted to know, it's like people couldn't understand me until they knew like what is the sound that's coming out of my mouth. They're like, where are you from? And then I'd be like, oh, South Africa. And they just get fucking confused. They'd be like, what? But you're brown. And then I'm like, yeah, but you sound English as well. And I was just like, yeah, bro, you know what history is? Like, my people moved about.
And there's an ideal world and there's our world. In an ideal world, any actor can play any role.
Yeah.
But we don't live in an ideal world. These cartoon characters of color are voiced by white actors. However, the inverse is not true.
And now, the episode.
Before
Ariane's
we
recording.
even introduce ourselves, Jeremy's got a story about aliens.
No,
Bring
what
it
I was
on,
saying,
baby.
I can't
Bring it
can't
on.
believe you guys haven't heard this. But so what I podded with Matt and Kevin about was there are several videos that have been captured by U.S. Navy pilots, and it shows aircraft moving in ways that should not be physically possible. Like, we're talking technology that is like
90-degree
hundreds of
angles,
years,
baby.
Yeah, we're talking 90-degree angles. We're talking all these kinds of crazy
Lateral
things. So
movement.
anyway,
Lateral.
now and there's these videos have been leaked, and there's enough public attention around them, and blah blah blah. So the Senate has ordered some fucking government agency make a report, everything that you like know about this shit, and we want to know in the Senate, and the report is due at the end of June. And so we were just talking about that and like, oh my God, what else could it be besides aliens? And what I particularly, I'll admit personally, found very amusing is, let's say these things are aliens. And let's say they make contact and they have like a leader and they have a ruler. If the ruler's first thing that he, she, it wanted to do to introduce itself
Show
to
off.
the world was like, book me a Wednesday spot on the Joe Rogan Experience.
It's like, yeah, you guys saw that video
And I
where I
got
did a
endless
fucking
entertainment.
loop-de-loop in the sky, right? And you guys can't do that yet, right?
It's my
Talk
greatest
about
work
Joe
yet.
Rogan.
You're not at that
And
level,
just a
right?
fucking sweaty alien fucking on the Joe, like sitting across the table from him on the Joe Rogan
They're like,
Experience.
you guys still have Tesla, right? That's
Oh,
what
you
you're
guys,
voicing
you
with
guys
Tesla.
just
That's the most
invented Jeff
forward-thinking
Bezos.
company.
We've had him for centuries.
Yeah.
We're
we
on
had to
Jeff
just see
Bezos
that-
point 0.5.
This is actually the book of Bezos in our gluptal. It's like your Bible, but this is Bezos 832 shit on the poor. We
Hey,
live by it.
everybody that's listening. This is my good friend Ariane. He's on an O1 visa, and he is South African and English.
Sure.
And
We can go with
this
that
right
one.
here is my beautiful friend Max. And the curly hairs on his chest poking through the tank top are real. So go ahead and salivate, ladies and gents.
And then in my top right corner, we have Jeremy Griffith, all the way from Sydney, Australia,
We're psyched to be
Filipino.
back.
Filipino. Bro, you're
That's
not
the
even
part, me
Asian,
too.
bro.
I know. Are you recording, Ariane? Are you still recording? Can
I
you
am.
check?
I'm still recording, and I'm looking at
So
it. I'm looking at it.
let's
Okay.
address this.
Do you have it like in a
Let's-
little
sorry,
corner
guys.
so we
address
can see
this
if it
real
stops?
quick. We haven't released we didn't release last week, and 2 weeks ago was the last episode. Or was it 3 weeks even? Was
Yeah.
it 2 or 3? Look, we haven't,
might have
we
been
haven't
3.
released. We took
It's
a
been a long
hiatus.
technical
issue.
Our good friend Ariane. No blame here. There was a
a
we
fight.
broke up and we got back together.
We had a fight on
Ariane
air.
has had some technical issues. We're back.
No, yeah.
You're gonna frequently hear Jeremy and I
Yeah.
belligerently asking Ariane if he's recording because we want to make sure he is. We've lost the audio.
And I'm
There's no
looking
tech-
I'll be
Technical
honest
issues
here. I'll be
this
honest
week?
here.
right now. We got we got two devices recording.
He's got his phone as backup.
Amazing.
Last week,
Okay, we got a
we had a
backup.
fantastic episode that is lost. We didn't even release it. That was a
Do you remember
good
how
episode.
pissed I was at the end of that episode?
I know. But hold
And
on,
I was
no,
just, like,
but
heartbroken.
Max, I still haven't gotten the
I haven't
video and
uploaded.
audio
You're right,
from
you're
you,
right.
Max.
This is my bad. But
Oh,
it would be
but it's
another.
okay, but it's okay, but I
it
just
would
wanna let
be
them know
hell to
that.
listen to. But you're right. I'll upload it and we'll.
No, but the first 25 minutes will be crisp because that's how much audio we have from Arion. So after 25 minutes, the audio is going to
Yeah.
go to hell, but we still can
You got me
feasibly
there,
release it.
25
You know what I mean?
minutes in.
Or release the first 25 minutes. But yeah, so that episode might be out before this one even
We'll
gets
see.
out. And if it's
If
not,
it's not, then
then it will be. You know, time is
maybe
relative.
we'll get back to.
You know,
Too
as
true.
they say in Alienville.
In the book of Jeff
It's fake.
Bezos 3.0, they mentioned that time is relative.
Contact them.
I was like, what are we gonna get back to? Oh yeah, and so whatchamacallit? I'm drinking Arizona green tea, by the way, just in case you guys hadn't noticed.
I'm drinking.
which they do have in
Oh, I
Australia.
miss it.
Which
I mean-
which is appreciated.
I'm drinking beer. I'm drinking.
Well, everybody got.
I've got
you got
beer.
beverages.
Yeah, I've
Enjoy
got
that beer.
Oh,
Yeah.
can I go get some water?
It's always nice to have a good beer.
Some water.
You want to get water
I'll go
real
get
quick,
some
and me
water.
and Max will talk about something.
Water, yeah.
Okay, go get water. Go
Yeah,
get
dude,
water.
I'll go get some water.
Because you know what I wanted to bring up, Max? I wanted to bring up how, so I am working, for the listener, for context, there's like a audio episode, like a TV show, but only audio, kinda, is how I think of it, that I'm trying to record. And I asked Max to do a bunch of voices.
I still haven't.
And one of them
I'm so
called for-
sorry. I still haven't done that.
It's okay, dude.
Oh,
It's
God.
okay, dude. Max, it's okay. I have not been on the ball
But I know
either.
what you're
Like,
gonna
I haven't
bring up.
recorded anything
but I'm
for
also,
it. It's we're
I'm
chilling.
also remembering
We're
that
chilling.
I haven't recorded this at all for you,
Yeah.
and I'm very sorry.
It's okay, bro. No, it's okay.
but I know what you're gonna bring
It's
up.
okay. I need to
It's a
chase
good
up everybody. I gotta chase
Yeah.
up myself. I mean, I think so. Yeah, and Arion can come in when he has his water. But so it called for a Chinese accent, and Max is not comfortable. Like, as an actor, does not want to do a Chinese accent. And I mean, I'm not Chinese. I would for sure do a Chinese accent, and maybe even belligerently defend it if Chinese people got mad at me. And I don't even know if I can fully explain that, but maybe we'll get into it. But anyway, what I want to know is, Max, what is your...
Who was racist?
How do you see the whole issue? Yeah. Where do you think the line is in doing accents? Yes.
Okay. You gotta stop me if I talk too long, because I don't want to dominate. I always feel bad that I talk so much. I'm such a talker.
We're all talkers, bro.
He's a seller. Sell me this pen.
Sell me this pen. It's so I'm of two minds about it, right? And there's an ideal world and there's our world. And I really
Okay.
believe in an
Getting philosophical on it.
in an ideal world, any actor can play any role.
Yeah.
And if you bring truth to it, that you know, you either bring truth to it or you don't. That's it.
Yeah.
I think, you know, and then there's a philosophical thing of, okay, can a white actor bring truth to a role of color and whatever? There's a million things behind it, right? But in an ideal world, sure, give it your shot. If you want to tackle that role, ideally, fuck it, go for it. But we don't live in an ideal world, right? We do not live in an ideal world. I think this is true of live action as well, but it's particularly true of voiceover, where you do not see, you only hear the voice, right? So, one, it kind of invites stereotypes, but two, where I come at it is, I would encourage you to think of a cartoon character of color that is of note to you. So when I think of that right away, right, Apu from The Simpsons, there's, Apu from The Simpsons is one of the first ones, right? Without a doubt. But there's, when you think of these cartoon characters, that I guess in recent years it's changed and I'm pro that, almost, I would say, upwards of 80% of the time, maybe even higher, these cartoon characters of color are voiced by white actors. However, the inverse is not true. There are never white cartoon characters that are voiced by actors who are people of color. And
Kratos.
yeah, I guess Kratos is right, pale white. You're not wrong. You're not wrong with Kratos. A very
I've played a bunch of white guys.
Thank you.
I've played a bunch of white guys. Actually, my first voiceover role was the white Australian.
You
kid.
guys caught me. I should do the Chinese voice.
Baji Smacklers. Yeah, there you go,
but
bro.
do you get there's since you can't as we talked about in a previous episode, the industry is hard enough to break into, and inherently, in my opinion, white people have a bit more opportunity because of structural whatever. That's a whole other conversation, but
Yeah.
There's just more of you.
There's more of us, and whatever. There's a whole fucking. This is a This is a lifelong conversation. Decades, history, generations.
Right.
That being said, most of the characters of color that I can think of are voiced by white people. Most of the white characters I can think of are also voiced by white people. The voiceover industry is built on exclusivity. It is the only voice actor of color that immediately comes to mind for me is Phil Lamar, who is brilliant. He voices Samurai Jack. He voices what's his face on Futurama. I'm forgetting his name. The Jamaican character. But when
oh my god,
I know, right? What is it? It's killing me.
I know.
He's brilliant, and he actually has an interview about this where I'm really parroting his points, where he says, and that's my belief. In an ideal world, any actor could take on any role, but we just don't.
Hermes Conrad.
Yeah. In an ideal world, any actor could take on any role, but we just don't live in that world. We just don't. And white actors have taken on more roles than actors of minority races and color have gotten to take on. And at the end of the day, I can't see me bringing truth to a Chinese accent. That's only going to be stereotypes and there's no reason for me to
fair
voice
enough,
that,
dude.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair enough, bro. Ariane, how do you see it? How do you see do you think that there's an accent that you could voice over that would be inappropriate or you'd be uncomfortable?
Yeah, definitely. Because it's firstly it's when other people are saying they want to bring truth to it. It's how much are you gonna let, in terms of representation? It's just like, why would, even if I can do the accent, why wouldn't you cast someone that is actually that race? And as you said, Max, in an ideal world, every actor can play any role, but not every actor can play every race. When it's about the role, then it's about the character and inherently the role of the character, right? But then in terms of the bringing truth to representation, the only way you're going to do that is by representing the actual race. So rather do that. But I'll be playing Swedish, American, white guy. Bruv, give it to me. I'll
butt in again real quick. Sorry if my dog as you've listened to her, we've got a puppy. She's being active.
You have a thought in
I've
response
not
to
heard
Ariane's.
your dog once.
Yeah.
So you should. I never have either.
You'll probably hear it on because Discord we have lag and it.
You don't have a dog. Stop lying.
True.
I'm making those puppy. So
you're just lying about this dog.
Tula's
Photoshop.
I think it's such a we could spend again. It's such hours. Ben Kingsley is a brilliant actor. Did he do well playing Gandhi?
Yeah.
He did brilliantly. But could an Indian have, would there have potentially been more truth?
Could an Indian have done that?
That, but even
Yes.
brought and this is a philosophical thing, of course, but like, could an Indian actor have brought more truth, having come from a history and a culture that embodies that?
Don't worry, I'm gonna be
Isn't
there
Kingsley
when I go
half
bold
Indian?
later on in life. Yeah, I think he might be actually.
And that's another.
Also, it's like, well, that's the thing. It's like people exactly. If you're even 2%, 3% something,
So
get him in there, regardless of what you look like inherently on the outside. If they're like, oh no, but he's got
this is a conversation that I think
is
is so interesting.
Sometimes.
Jordan Peele.
It's deep.
Jordan Peele said of Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out. He said he shouldn't have taken that role because he's a British actor. And I'm paraphrasing greatly, but he said in an interview that he thought a Black American actor could have done a better job in that role because it's different for a British actor, and it was a really interesting conversation.
Jordan Peele said that?
I'm paraphrasing here, but he was basically like he basically said that.
So Jordan Peele didn't cast
Jordan
him,
Peele
or didn't have a say in.
Oh. Wait, you're right. Maybe I'm fucking that up. Somebody else must have said that because Jordan Peele made the fucking movie and he cast
I
him.
remember the criticism though.
But that's what I'm saying. Imagine directing the film.
You
Like, you know
have to
what?
be fucking
The
that
actor
up. Somebody
who
else
won
said
an
that. You're
But
totally right.
I
fucked
remember
that up.
that criticism, Max.
Who said that?
And
Who was
also,
that said
I remember,
that?
I don't know who said it.
Fuck.
But people were like, "Yeah, how can you honestly capture the Black American experience when you're a
Google it,
Brit?"
if I can find it.
But Jordan Peele, I believe, saw him in that Black Mirror episode. And was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is."
I totally forgot Peele
My
did
Get
Get
Out
Out. You're
guy.
totally. I feel like an idiot. He cast the guy. It was somebody else that
You're
said
not,
that.
Max.
Somebody said of him though.
Everybody has
Mad
those
drama,
days.
TMZ,
Everybody makes mistakes.
inside
But
story.
it's an interesting point where it's the idea, to some
that makes
people,
sense.
it is a giant air quote. Get Out Kaluuya. Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson is the one that said it.
Oh,
That's
I remember
the guy.
that.
Thank
I
you,
remember
Paige.
that.
My girlfriend
I
showed me
remember
the
that.
headline. So right, to some people it's and again giant air quotes, but it's a black role, and then to some people it's a Black American role. And what's the difference? And there's just so much nuance to it. It's such a fucking hard thing to talk about, but I think it's really interesting.
I'm just happy they're putting people of color on screen. That's the main thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know what,
I'm
dude?
just happy
Yeah.
we're all out there.
Yeah. I know, and it's great. I agree that there's so much nuance to it. Like, for example, right? This little thing I'm producing, if I have to do a Chinese accent, it's like, it doesn't make sense to me to like go try to find a Chinese person to do the accent. But if like there's like a large scale, like a big project that calls for a Chinese role, and then the people are like, I feel like they owe it to the community to at least try their best to find like a really talented, competent actor.
Right.
And
That's
you know
an
what I mean?
interesting
And then
point too.
And if they
But then you
can't,
know
then
what it
maybe
is?
there's something.
That's a really interesting point, man. Where if you don't have the budget, oh, sorry, I think lag's getting in my way. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jeremy's
I didn't
gone.
mean to interrupt. I'm so sorry. I think lag got in the way there.
I see you guys. No, it's big. It's big lag. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Am I back with it?
Big lag.
Big lag. Big lag.
Big lag. Big lag. Big lag demand him. What the heck? What was the last thing that we communicated clearly to each other?
And I think that's such an interesting point that, right, I guess it depends on the level of the project, because for you, I guess what I heard you communicate is you don't have access to actors of all different cultures and creeds, and you just want to get a project done. And
And you have to pay them.
like, oh man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a
You don't have the
fucking
budget.
tricky
Yeah, it makes
thing.
sense.
It's such a tricky thing.
I know. But also I get like how Uncle Iroh from Avatar, like the English dub is a white guy. And like I saw like on this Facebook group Subtle Asian Traits, somebody was like, oh my God, my sister loves Avatar, and so for her birthday, I got her like this, whatever, like a shout out, like what where you pay people and they'll like shout you out. I forgot what the app is called.
Cameo.
Call out.
Yeah, cameo.
yeah.
There we go. And like he was like, and he did the voice, like, but you see his white face, but he's doing like the Uncle Iroh voice, and gives her like a birthday greeting, and like most of the people in there were like, oh, that's amazing, that's so cool, it's But then you would see a few comments where it's like, wait, like it's a white guy, like this voice was a white guy the whole time. So it's interesting. It's interesting how things how things play out. I would say that. I feel like there's no easy answer, and it's like you really have to look at so many factors when you're casting. Did Max disappear?
My Discord just shut down.
He's back.
I'm back. You're going to hear me when you listen to the audio. I literally said, I was like, y'all, what the fuck? My Discord just... All good.
So it's not me today.
We're having a hectic time. Ariana, you still recording?
Yeah, check you're still recording.
I'm still recording, baby.
Iroh's such an interesting thing because the guy that originally voiced Iroh was Iroh's two voice actors, and the guy that originally voiced Iroh voiced Aku in Samurai Jack, and then he died. But it's just really interesting because then the second guy that voiced Iroh wasn't just voicing an Asian coded character. He was doing a voice match to another guy. I mean, there's so many layers to that,
and
right?
that's a different set of skills.
It's a whole other thing where he's...
And if you can actually do the voice match...
Right, then, I mean, it's a whole
versus
other fucking
maybe they couldn't
thing
find an Asian person who could voice
Exactly,
match.
I mean, it's such a crazy conversation, but the guy that played Iroh died, he died, and he was a brilliant voice actor. It fucking sucks. It's tragic. But it's very fascinating that you brought that up, because the guy that was in that cameo...
Oh, shit. And goodbye.
The guy that was in that cameo, and then...
My Discord is misbehaving. But the guy that was in that cameo got cast because he did a voice match. He essentially could one-to-one the original guy. Honestly, I don't know if the original actor was Asian American or I don't know. I don't remember. I think so, right? Aku. Yeah, because his name was. I think so. Let me check. Yeah, Mako Iwamatsu. So it was a.
That sounds very Asian.
Yeah, he was a Japanese American actor, and then he got replaced by this guy who could voice match him. Which is, such an interesting, right.
I think, there's also something to be said about, like...
And then they named a character after
there's something to be
Korra.
said about, like, in terms of speaking on representation and speaking on, like... I saw this thing, I don't know if you've seen, Riz Ahmed is setting up this really cool foundation, or rather platform, to kind of highlight and embrace more Muslim writers. And his whole thing was like, instead of other people telling Muslims how to act on stage, and that's representation, it's like, let Muslims tell you who we are through our stories. So instead of getting white writers to write about Muslims as representation and openness to diversity, it's like, no, let's find more Muslim writers to write about inherent Muslim stories, because they know the truth. And that just speaks on representation in general. I saw a statistic today. There has not been one Muslim character in animation ever. They've never written a Muslim character ever.
In animation?
Ever. Not one.
The breadwinner?
Yeah.
But you know what I would say, though?
He was Hindu, no?
Sorry.
Isn't that a short film?
No, the breadwinner was... Sorry, you cut out. I didn't hear you say a Muslim writer writing a Muslim character. Because the breadwinner was produced by Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what? Though? I feel like
I thought you said
most of the
I
cartoons
misheard
I've
you.
seen. Yeah, I feel like most of the cartoons I've seen, though, the religion is not even a thing. Where like it doesn't necessarily attribute characters to like Christianity or Judaism or Islam.
I mean,
maybe it's like,
okay, but there are Hindu characters. There are characters that celebrate Christmas. There are movies about that. It's more so about the less about the religion, more so about the culture. When is the first time you've seen? Have you ever seen an animated person with a hijab? You've never seen an animated character with a hijab.
I can't think
Muslim
of one.
women are like some of the least represented people ever.
I will pitch in here, it's done not by it seems a Muslim writer, but The Breadwinner is specifically about a young Muslim girl. It's an amazing animated movie by the studio.
I think I've seen. Was it voiced by a Muslim girl?
I'd have to check. I'm not. I don't know. We're talking cartoons.
Maybe it's not. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the fact that.
Yes, I'm not sure.
Like I know any of the big studios,
Sarah
they ain't gonna do that.
She's a Canadian actress, but that doesn't say what her. That still doesn't tell me anything about her. The bread.
Well, either way,
there's
even if there's
not
just
many.
one,
Right, there's
that's
not many.
still
I
horrendous,
agree.
right?
Of course,
You know?
exactly. You're right. Then I'm going. Well, there's one.
Yeah.
There's one.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
And that movie's a little
No, but that's the
problematic
thing, I
within
think-
itself. The Breadwinner's a little problematic too.
I have to check it out.
But you know what I personally feel like is like the best solution to like all these kinds of issues of like any kind of representation or whatever. I feel like it's just going to like the developmental stage and just helping people to have more resources. Like if that's something they want to learn how to do, if that's something like they want to, they want to go that route, then like as much as we can, like encourage as many people as possible to go there, and then they can develop their skills, they'll get their chops, and they can be putting out really amazing work.
Yeah, I mean,
telling their own stories, I guess.
Look at Lovecraft Country, which is a hit HBO show, and I'll admit,
I've seen a couple episodes.
I'll admit, I don't know who wrote the show, but I know it's based off a novel. There's a novel, Lovecraft Country, directly based off, and the novel was written by a white guy, and it was a really, it was a well-selling. But it's
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, I mean, and Lovecraft was a fucking bigot. He was anti-Semitic and racist and whatever. He hated anybody that wasn't German, white, that idea of. But it's a really interesting. Who gets to tell what story? And if you are somebody that wants, there's a unique conversation of that I've heard happen in our circle, at least the three of us, where it's like, if you're a white actor or a white storyteller, what is your obligation to help boost stories from minorities and people of color, versus when does it get over the line, and when are you stepping over the line, and it's just a really
I mean, I'll give you an example. Sometimes when like a white writer may try to represent a certain race, they do it in a place from what they know already. So I'll give you an example. If they're going to represent a Muslim girl, right? Most of the time, I've seen on Netflix, HBO, Hulu, certain shows where a girl has a hijab, and the story is she removes it for a white guy.
That's the Breadwinner.
Any moment she'll be like,
I don't know. I don't know if she removes it for a white guy, but the idea is the hijab is oppressive. Yeah. The idea is the hijab is bad.
That's also,
and it's like,
that's also pushing.
That's problematic.
That's also pushing a whole nother that's pushing a whole other narrative. But it's like, who's it problematic to? People keep asking, like, men as well. They keep asking men, oh, isn't the hijab oppressive? And every man is like, go ask the women and see what they say. See if they tell you, oh, it's oppressive. There are Muslim women out there that'll be like, it's not oppressive in the least, and we want to wear it. Look at what France is doing. France is literally banning it. Imagine banning a hijab. Why?
Yeah.
Literally banning a gown that covers your hair. Why would you ban, like, that's ridiculous.
My personal in to this conversation is that, and I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. I don't necessarily think it's problematic, but what I've noticed is that there is never a conversation about, Jewish stories where non-Jews play the characters, and when I think of popular like in
All of Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah, Mrs. Maisel, Rachel Brosnahan would be the only one that's Jewish, and
She's not Jewish.
Rachel Brosnahan isn't Jewish.
Really? In that whole show?
My girlfriend Paige, my girlfriend Paige is telling me that Rachel Brosnahan isn't Jewish. When you look at Inglourious Bastards,
wow,
very few of them are Jewish. And it's just an interesting thing where there are a lot of times where Jewish stories are told. They tend to be about the Holocaust, but not always, that are directed by, written by, and acted by people that are non-Jews. And it's interesting to me that it's not... And I'm not even saying that it should be. Like, it never really offends me. I think Mrs. Maisel is very representative of the Jewish experience. Like, I really think they nail it. And I'm not offended by that. But it's, I think it's an interesting thing that a lot of times there's Jewish stories that are told in popular media, and the characters, the one Jewish actor that comes to mind off bat that kind of made a career off of being Jewish or playing Jewish characters is the guy from The New Girl. I don't remember his name. He was in
Max
Schmidt.
Greenfield.
Yeah, Max Greenfield. He's brilliant. He's great.
I love Max
Because
Greenfield.
he's in The Big Short, and
Is it Schmidt?
yeah, I have to.
Yeah,
I don't really
He's
watch The
Schmidt.
New Girl, but
he's in The Big Short.
he's great. He's really talented.
Yeah.
But
He's hilarious.
Yeah, dude.
Jewish characters, it's just interesting to me. Whatever. That's my in. I don't mean to make it about me, but I think there's a really interesting thing there too.
What was the point that got us
you
into
guys
there,
feel
though?
that-
Like, before we were talking about hijabs. Oh, sorry, Ariane.
Okay. Oh, well, actually, I was going to to tie into your question, Jeremy, what I was going to say is specifically also looking at the UK. The UK is so far ahead in terms of representation and nuanced representation. They just came out with a series about like a bunch of 5 Muslim girls in a rock band. Like, this is what I'm talking about. You allow complexity, whereas in America, representation means we're going to show a Muslim praying and doing this and oppressing and not living up to Western culture. Or you're going to, it's not really about, it's like, yes, they're Muslim, but who are they? Who are the people? What do they do? They're not just completely defined by their religion or their culture. Yeah. But that is like a byproduct of whoever they are, right? And like whatever, it doesn't always have to be about something that's like, oh, we got to represent Muslims. We got to, what do we know of Muslims? They pray, they do this, and just leaving it at that, right? And in all movies, it's something to do with like some sort of like, it's always like Western ideals versus, non-Western ideals in certain places.
Like
but then
normal people.
I found it so beautiful. Yeah, and I found it so beautiful. And that's where Rami comes in. But I found it so beautiful that you can have... You can bridge those gaps between Western ideals and non-Western ideals and have a rock band full of hijabi women. And that's so awesome. Like, to me, that's so sick. Because there's people out there like that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And what I feel like it is
So
too...
more of that.
I feel like what you're kind of getting at wanting more of is like not viewing people in a way where their race or their ethnicity like totalizes them, right? Which is tough because I feel like both sides of the argument can kind of slide into that, where it's like, you know, like this is about Muslim person and it's all about like they are Muslim versus all of the many things that someone who is a Muslim can be, or someone who is a Jew can be, or someone who is, you know, whatever. Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we're hoping that like it keeps moving in that direction, but then it's tough to like, it's kind of crazy the way like things kind of spill over and seem excessive one way or the other. Like you'll just see stories, like I'll just see like a lot of headlines in like Variety or something, and I'm just kind of like, oh, well, that seems like a bit much.
I don't know,
Or then
man.
I'll see the other one. Oh, and to bring back Lovecraft Country.
Oh, okay. No, you
like,
go.
oh, okay, what you were going to say, Max?
No. Well,
No, I was going to say, because what
you
you made me think of when you talked about, but Lovecraft Country, I actually saw whoever pitched it to HBO, she posted index cards on Twitter. It's like, this is what I pitched to HBO that got them to pick it up. And like the fundamental thing they said was, these are stories that were full of white people, and we're just going to fill them with all the kinds of people that they were not originally about.
Okay.
Like that was kind of like,
that's cool.
You know, that was their big battering ram.
To me, that's cool of the person that pitched it to share, here's how I got a show made. To me, and maybe I'm off base because I'm American and I only know what I think I know about EU culture and all that.
EU culture.
Whatever it is.
EU.
We ain't in EU anymore.
I think Hollywood,
Brexit,
I think
baby.
what we're breaking down is, and what we often find why there's a more respect for British performative art is that in America we really prioritize physical appearance. And Ariane, you would be the best to correct me if I'm wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've found, from what I've seen in Europe, there's just an appreciation for good storytelling. For a good show and good actors, and it doesn't matter how you look. You don't have to be pretty to be a good storyteller, and that won't prevent you from making it. Whereas in America, we have such a fixation on
vanity.
Yeah, vanity and
Young
what it's
boys.
resulted in is as well skin color, whatever, all these things. young boys. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. I think stories like that are easier to tell not in America because you don't have to pitch it as attractive. I think
like it's gonna sell, and they're gonna love this actor because he looks like this and she looks like that.
What sells
people will love it for the story.
Yeah, what sells in Europe is, to my knowledge, better storytelling versus what sells in America.
And authenticity.
Versus what sells in America.
Authenticity, I would say, is
the thing. Versus what sells in America is an image. An image, whether that's attractiveness or, you could break it down in a million things.
I'll give you an example of authenticity as well. So when I was in London, I was actually looking for an agent. And I was like, might as well, let's see if I can, because I didn't know obviously where my visa was going to stand, if I was going to have to move to London.
You were too hot to get an agent.
No, I was literally like, I was in London and I was talking to like some people. I was talking to some people and they were like, oh, so where are you from in London? And like, have you lived here your whole life? And I was like, no, I was born here. I can do a British accent and I didn't grow up here, but obviously a lot of my family is still there and all of that. And he was like, oh, so in London, they really want to, if they're making a film about someone in Manchester, they want to get someone from Manchester. Right. If they're making a film about someone in Birmingham, they want to get someone from Birmingham. Authenticity in that note. Then, bro, I was on the phone with this guy, and he was like, so what kind of British roles do you think you could play? And I was like, I can do sort of the posh ones and boarding school ones and maybe South London.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, go on then, do a South London accent for me. And I was like, bruv, man was just out here. Obviously, that brother obviously he was just like, you need to just stop. Like, I just sounded crazy. And so they really want people from their roots in London. I sounded so bad, bro. Like, it was a disgrace. My cousin was looking at me across the thing as I was on the phone being like, what are you doing right now? You sound like a madman. But yeah. So they really want authenticity in that route, but then it goes back to the whole thing of like being so specific. Like, who is ever gonna write a story for me that's as authentic? Like, an East African Indian who grew up in South Africa but born in London.
Yeah.
Where's the story out there? You know.
So to bring it back to an original point, and I want to loop it into you, Jeremy, because I feel like you haven't said that much. I feel like Ariane and I are talking over you anyway.
Just posed questions.
But I do.
It's the lag.
It's the lag, and you don't butt in enough. What's your opinion on all this? And to bring it back, because you're an Asian man, but you, like you said, you're not Chinese, but you would do a Chinese accent without batting an eye, like you said.
I'm white Asian.
Right. So what's your take on this?
Well,
Asian. Have you been asked to do some? Like, what's your take on this? Have you been asked to do dialects that?
What did they make you do, Jeremy?
I'm just curious to hear your take on it.
Weird dialects. Well, okay, what I wanted to say, what the hell was I going to say? No, to Ariane, what you were saying about the specific English movies, right? I get that kind of filmmaking where it's like, oh, we want a person that's, whatchamacallit, exactly this kind of person. But then to me, that brings up the question, well, what's the point of even acting then? That's almost just like we're making a movie almost like a reality TV style, except we're going to kind of make you
about
like
yourself.
Act out scenes. Yeah. And then to answer your question, Max, is like, well, I mean, you guys know this. I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast, but maybe I did. But when I was in LA for a hot second after graduation, they were kind of pushing me as Latino, right? Like they were like, go for the Latino roles, make yourself look Latino. That's a very, it's like a market that there's money in. And I was like, okay. So I was just kind of going along with it without a second thought. And I was like, it's weird to think about that juxtaposition of like, am I even trying to be true to myself, or am I just trying to make money based on my appearance in, like how people would first see me, and that's their ignorance, and I'm feeding into their ignorance because they're not familiar with, what I am or what I could be. And I guess, okay, to sum up my feelings about it, I recently read a script, right? And in the beginning of the script, there were all these things like,
what you saying?
It was the character name, and then immediately after it was the ethnicity, and then it was the pronoun.
Jeremy, you got to take a breath, boy. Oh, you're back. I'm
back? Okay, I was going to do Discord
back,
on my
baby.
phone, but then I see the connection here. What was the last thing that I effectively communicated to you guys? What was the last
last
idea?
thing I heard you say was...
Did you hear anything I said?
That you were being pitched as Filipino.
No, I was being pitched as
Latino.
Latino. I was being pitched.
I'm a bigot.
Yeah, like the people around me were
Sorry,
like,
I'm a
look,
bigot.
you look like a Latino male.
Latino, not
No,
Filipino.
dude, you're all good, bro. But they were like, which... But I was told, I was like, you don't look white enough for white. You don't look Filipino enough for Filipino. With your vagueness, I think you have the best chance. Oh no, is it gone again? You have the best chance of getting Latino roles.
No,
and so I was just kind of... Okay, and so I was just kind of, being pushed toward that, just kind of going for that. And it is weird to think about, well, what am I even trying to do here? Am I literally just trying to make money and get roles for whatever I can possibly sink my teeth into? Or, am I feeding into the fact that Americans, quote unquote, they think they're ignorant, they're not going to understand what to make of me, so let me try to present myself in a way that they think will make sense. I don't know. It was like a super weird thing. But something I was going to tell you guys is like, I feel like, and I guess in a nutshell, kind of the way I feel about all of it. I saw a script recently, and in the beginning, it just had like the character names, And it was written by, like somebody that I know. But it was like the character names, the race and ethnicity of each person, and their pronoun. Like that was like what it led with before there was anything. And like that kind of thing really doesn't rub me the right way. It just feels so, it's like, so are we saying that their ethnicity and their the way they present themselves gender-wise are the most important things about who they are? And that's what we need to know from the outset. Like, does this story even have anything to do with those parts of them, And like, and it makes me think of what you were saying, Max, about optics, where it's like America is so much about the optics, and how can I judge you immediately based on what you look like or how you're presenting yourself, and then now I know everything I need to know about you. It's kind of like you're in like a neat little box, and okay, let's watch the story now. And I feel like that's just so reductive of like what humanity is and like what actors can be.
I completely agree with that, and I would say that as like, dude, even me moving to America, the biggest thing that people wanted to know, it's like people couldn't understand me until they knew like what is the sound that's coming out of my mouth. They're like, where are you from? And then I'd be like, oh, South Africa, and they just get fucking confused. They'd be like, what? But you're brown. And then I'm like, yeah, but you sound English as well. And I was just like, yeah, bro, you know what history is? Like, my people moved about from place to place. And it's just like, people won't, the first thing, and I think Americans are so, because think about it, when you're in a society that is so inherently, everything in America is about America, right? Everything, you only see American stories, you see American people, so that when someone new is coming in, it's like, oh, I have to know where he's from, what his ethnicity is, what his background is, for me to believe in the story. Because American ones, you're like, oh, I get that. But a lot of the time, it's like now, but now I'm just like, I mean, even speaking with acting roles, I just, literally all my roles now are just Americans. And not just like, and it varies from, okay, certain specific roles, they do say Ali, 30s, M, or whatever, 25 to 30, M, right? And then others, like today I got an audition and it was just like a kid named Jerry, and he's a freshman in college. And they were like, do whatever you want with it. And I was like, so every time I audition now, I always send an American take and then one in my natural, just to be like, hey, just so you know, this is the American representation, but I also can bring my shit to the table and add a different spin on it. And I always feel like a creative, like freedom in that, to really be like, okay, this is a story. What can I essentially bring to it? Because I always struggle with, like, whenever I get these roles, like, oh, I have to, this is for any foreigners listening to it, right? Listening to this podcast, if you're out there and you ever have to do American auditions, stop trying to think what an American would do. Get the accent down, do the dialect work, because it's fucking hard. And then bring your own thing to it.
Sorry, it's the fucking lag.
That's it. No, you're good.
That is in line with, that's kind of what I was getting at to begin with, is that in particular white but American men have been given their opportunity to bring their take to foreign roles for fucking like 50 years more. And so that's why it's like, okay,
because we made Hollywood, baby.
Right, like, we know better now. That's just what I'm getting at, is like,
you ever seen the show Hollywood?
We know Hollywood better now. And so
proud of that.
There's two parts of it where, people who aren't of that build have their opportunity, and that's also great, but like, we just know better. Like, Tula, hey. Sorry, my dog's trying to eat chicken.
He's lying. You don't have a dog. You're lying. He's shouting at a blank wall.
Totally lying.
It's just not. It's not as interesting. Why would I want, as an audience member, to hear an American man's take on a role when I know somebody who understands that truth could have taken the role? It's just not as interesting. It's not as engaging.
Yeah.
I
Imagine
hear what you're
Parasite
saying, Max.
was an American film.
I know, it would lose a lot of what it's saying.
With Ryan
I'd
Reynolds.
see those points too. With Ryan Reynolds. But here's the thing for me, bro. One day, I'm going to play in a movie, in a big budget movie, $20 million minimum budget. And it's going to be a drama. I'm going to play an El Salvadorian man.
200 mil. 200
and his
mil.
migrant struggles. 200, okay, that's even better. And I'm going to do it completely straight, and I'm going to win an Oscar for it, and then they're going to be like, he's the first El Salvadorian actor to ever win an Oscar, and then everyone will realize that I'm not El Salvadorian, and I'm going to be like, I don't give a fuck, and then I'll drop the mic.
Oh my god. Inshallah, brother. Inshallah. You will find that role.
Inshallah, we find Dory. Okay, and that's a joke in case it wasn't abundantly obvious, but...
It was.
We did.
Oh, dude.
Have we spoken about
fun
dream roles?
conversation.
Have we
did. We did.
But I feel
we
like
talked about dream roles.
I swear we have.
We did.
We did, right? Bachelor.
And like we talked about ideal careers. You want to be on The Bachelor. You know what's one I don't think I told you guys? Wait, maybe I did. No, I don't think I... Did I tell you guys that like when I was younger, before Calarts, and like I would watch the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, it was my dream that I would like, in like Pirates of the Caribbean 9,
you wanted
I would
to be
play
Jack
his
Sparrow.
like son. His long lost... No, I wanted to be like his long lost son from like some floozy that he slept with, and I just happened to act like so similarly to him. And now they fucking canceled him from the Pirates movies. I'm so sad
Just
about
trying
it.
to be him.
Yeah.
That sounds like a beautiful
Exactly.
father-son story. I'd watch it.
Yeah, bro.
Well-
and I still would love to be like a Disney villain, animated.
So here's another point in line with what we've talked about. So I know Ariana and I talked about the show we were in a few years ago, Calarts Hendricks Project. This guy, Roger Guenver Smith.
Best show ever.
Directed us. But he had an interesting take. It's similar in line with what I was saying at the beginning, where in an ideal world, for him, he wasn't talking about race or anything, but his basic thing was, if somebody's doing a biopic, if you're doing, for him and I had this conversation about Bob Dylan, and it was like,
yeah,
I talked to them. I was like, well, I don't look a ton like Bob Dylan, and he's like, who cares if you cast, even if you're doing a biopic about a person that everybody knows what they look like, is casting somebody that looks like them the interesting choice? And there's two sides to it, because I didn't necessarily love Bohemian Rhapsody, but I think that Rami Malek did an amazing job. And I think he got cast because he wound up looking a lot like Freddie Mercury. That being said, is that always the best actor for the part? Nothing to do with race or anything. If there's an actor who can play the part more interestingly, are you going to not cast them because they don't physically look like the person and everybody knows they do? What's the interesting choice? And I think that's a crazy conversation.
Yeah. And what did Roger think the answer was?
Roger, beyond a shadow of a doubt, thought it didn't matter if you looked like the role. He didn't give a fuck. He thought anybody could play any role if you
cast the interesting person.
Cast the interesting person, exactly.
He always told me, what was that? I think he's a New Zealand actor. Back in the day, he played every single race, ethnicity, everything. Because he was just like ethnically ambiguous. What is his name? God, you must know who I'm talking about. The New Zealand actor.
I don't know. Russell Crowe?
He's like in the... No, he's like more the 80s, 90s. I forgot his name. But anyways, an ethnically ambiguous guy. He's literally played everyone. Every single culture, and he just did it. He made a living off of it. Search his name. You'll find him. Just say
Ben
New
Kingsley.
Zealand actor. I bet you. No.
Yeah.
The baby.
Cliff Curtis?
Silence. Yes, Cliff Curtis.
Yeah?
Yep.
A Maori from New Zealand who has
100%.
played about every ethnicity.
Yeah.
African American, Arab, Latino,
go.
Indian. Yeah, bro. He's a First Nations people,
wild.
man, from
It's
New
wild.
Zealand. Yeah, dude. Speaking of, dude, have you guys seen?
But yeah.
We need to talk about the fucking Taika Waititi. Have you guys seen you saw the pictures I sent you?
Conjuring.
He's making out with Tessa Thompson. He's making out with Rita Ora. They have some fucking kind of three-way swinger love going on. Dude, Hollywood is crazy, bro.
Do we have to talk about it?
This guy was a family man. He had his kids on set. We have to. Okay, no. Wait, did I? No, I never. You know why? What I wanted to ask you guys. No, never mind. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
No,
I'm completely lost in my thoughts.
Say your fucking thing.
It's crazy to
You're
me.
You're full of it.
Talk about Tessa
You're
Thompson.
full of shit. Say your thing.
No. It's just. No, I'm not full of shit, bro. It's crazy. It's just so crazy to me that, like, he just seemed like such a fun, great guy, family man, making, like, good movies and gets to the A-list. And then he's fucking out here acting a fool now. You know, he doesn't give a shit anymore.
He's not acting a fool. He's not acting a fool. He's acting a gangster. Rita Ora and Tessa Thompson.
Bro.
Man, let the man live his life. That's some gangster shit.
Okay.
He's a gangster.
Bro.
And if it's all consensual, we love it.
To my mind, bro, he went... Okay, I don't know the full story. But what it looks like to me is he was like a responsible adult man, and he regressed to being like a child, like a selfish child again, you know? And he was just like, fuck it. Hollywood, like I have money, I got fame.
How?
I'ma fucking do it, bro.
Here's my take.
Here's
my take.
Okay, what's the take?
This might seem a little rude to you, Jeremy. It's none of our fucking business. We have no. I think this is, and it bleeds into what we're talking about. Who fucking cares? Who cares? I don't think we should put a stake in celebrities' personal lives. To me personally, the line is when and I might eat my words. Whether or not I choose to support a celebrity is up to me. Typically, my line is whether they hurt another person. That is where I will say. Your personal life has gotten so far gone. I cannot let go of that and enjoy your work.
You mean, are you talking about physical violence? Because arguably leaving his wife would have hurt
generally,
her.
What I'm saying is...
But you don't know the story.
Right.
We don't know,
what I'm saying is context is important.
Exactly.
There's no rule that you have to be nice to make good art. Ed Norton is notoriously a piece of shit, and I think he's one of the best working actors there is. But you know what I mean? Nobody wants to work with the guy, but when he works, he's brilliant. Quentin Tarantino is a scumbag. Nobody likes him. He's mean to people. The guy makes fucking good movies. He makes good movies. To me, the line is, if you put another person in actual danger, and there's other people that, we don't have to get into crazy specifics. When I learn certain things about certain people, maybe it's not always danger. Two names that come to mind are Kevin Spacey and Louis C.K. That there's to me, not much of a debate, but publicly there's a debate about what they did. I'm like, okay, when I know what they did, it's hard for me to enjoy their art. And there doesn't have to be a hard line, right? There doesn't have to be a hard line. But when I know what those two guys did, I go, okay, it's really hard for me to watch them. I can't enjoy it. I don't want to participate in their art anymore. It's not anything more than, it makes me, it's weird for me to watch. Taika Waititi or any, like, who, I don't care. He still makes art that I like, and I don't personally mind that he...
If he's not doing anything sexually fucked up,
it's not, or violently,
like
whatever. It's not right. A certain Hollywood celebrity who wants to eat people.
Like people were like, he's just a sexual freak. No, motherfucker, that guy's a cannibal sent from hell.
What I'm getting at is, I have fucked up in my life. Everybody listening to this will fuck up in their life. You two will fuck up in your lives. And when you are a celebrity,
I don't fuck up.
Ariane doesn't fuck up. When you are a celebrity, every one of your actions are put on blast to the nth degree. Personally, what I'd say is, humans are humans, people fuck up, whatever. So long as you are not really, and whatever, the line is blurred because, again, there's some times where I think what somebody did hurt somebody enough, even if it wasn't physical. The lines are blurred and it changes, but to me it's like, what Taika's doing is whatever. It's not my business. He's a human. And it's crazy. I don't know the context. I don't know the guy. I just don't know what's going on in his life. Yeah. And it's not my business.
And I don't.
His movies make me
think
weep.
That
Oh, sorry, the lag kicked in.
No worries, bro. His movies make you weep.
Yeah, Boy and Hunt for the Wilder People.
No, I don't think.
Again.
Yeah. I don't think that what he's doing is like, oh, his career should suffer or anything like that. To me, it's just crazy. Like, because to me, it's like, I personally feel like the greatest stories that we tell
see what Hollywood
are our
does.
actual lives. You know, where it's just like, and like that's what books are, right? It's like we want to learn from the wisdom of how people live their lives before us. And so I think why that one is so, I wouldn't even say bad to me, just so like amusing, entertaining, I guess, is like he was somebody who I really looked at as like, oh, I really want to emulate like a lot of what he does. And then that kind of just surprised me. Like there was a bit of a disconnect from the person that he seemed to be to me. And I was like, oh, well, that's not something I'd want to emulate. And it's also so crazy to see him making out with Rita Ora.
I'd want to emulate that shit, baby. I'd want to emulate it.
The image is crazy.
Let me emulate it if
I
nobody
will agree
wants
with
to
you
emulate
there
it.
that... Oh, my God. I will agree with you there that his movies... He genuinely plays around with father figures and parental figures, and it is interesting knowing he's a parent and that he's doing this, but again, we just don't have context. And it's...
How old is kid?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I don't have a place in this conversation because I don't even know.
I think they're both younger than 10, I think. They're little kids. They're quite small.
This is what I talk about.
They probably think he's a gangster.
I love reality shows. I watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and all these reality shows. But I always qualify it when we start judging these people too heavily. Because I firmly believe if you were to follow me around for 2 weeks with cameras and film every moment of my life, you could make me look any way you wanted. Even today, I had a shitty...
Yeah,
I had a really bad shift at work. And I would go back in the kitchen, I'd swear up and down and go, this fucking table and this. If you wanted to cut that together and make me look like a bitter, sour person, you could. And I hope you two know me and a lot of our, like, that's just not me, but you could, when you take, right.
We're going to edit this. Right. We're going to edit his whole audio.
When you take parts of people's lives and try and fit them into a narrative, you can fit it into any narrative you want.
That you believe.
And so what I'm saying is
that you want to push.
Think
that's like, right.
I just don't know about Taika. I don't know, man.
Put it this way. I don't think Taika Waititi cares what other, and that's the thing. Right. No.
You started
but it goes
this,
a lot
Jeremy.
to,
You
I think the
started
end
this
point
shit.
is like, right. But I think it all comes back to like, don't care what people think. Yeah. You can't. Exactly. You know your truth. Oh, it's not your business what other people think of you. I don't know where I heard that. But it's not your business what other people think of you. And it's not in our control either. Why are you just staring at the screen, Jeremy? He's possessed. By the way, don't fucking watch The Conjuring. Don't watch The Conjuring.
So we're getting a new... Conjuring. How long have we been recording anyway? Let me check. Yeah, we're on an hour
I'd
and
like
3.
to speak about
Ariane
this.
has an
Don't.
anti-recommendation.
Yes. Don't watch The Conjuring. You know, I'm a big fan of horror. I was a big fan of the first Conjuring. Then, bro, it's like, you know when people just do too much and they're trying to include 5 stories into one and just throwing shit in there. Now it's just not worth it, mate. Did you watch A Quiet Place? You didn't watch it?
I haven't seen it yet, but I have a question for you,
You didn't
Ariane.
watch A Quiet Place too? Yeah.
While Jeremy figures this shit out and I finish chewing my food. If you had a call back from the person that directed the most recent Conjuring and they heard you say that, Do you think they'd care? Do you think they know that they're making something that's kind of a corporate whatever? Or do you think it would be like...
I think they know they're making it shit. If I had a callback for that shit, I'd just be like, bro, your last movie
Cast
shit
me anyway.
cost
We'll
me,
make this one
maybe
good.
it won't be. We'll
Jeremy,
make this one
are
good,
you
buddy.
there?
We'll make it good.
Ariane, you've got the floor because I have to pee-pee my little boy brains out. I have to go pee-pee, potty.
I'm a serenade.
So you
I'm
tell
gonna serenade
the audience
everybody,
about The
don't worry.
Conjuring real quick, and I'll be right back, and Jeremy will start recording.
I'll start with, do you believe in the devil? Because if you do, and you watch The Conjuring, you'll realize that they have a shit representation. It really wasn't the devil. I don't know what that movie was really about. I fell asleep at one point, opened my eyes. There was like a Bollywood movie. They were in the middle of a forest. No transition, just straight in there, boom. Just like that. But anyway, The Conjuring was I just had to get that off my chest because, you know, I spent money on the thing and I was just like, can't believe I did that. But, you know, it's nice to be back in the cinema again and going with friends. I do miss that, you know. Went to Yard House, had some nice food, you know, go with some friends, see the movie, see a shit movie. You still love each other. You still, you know, it's nice vibes. But yeah, you know, in terms of everything else, you know, is this just a monologue? I'm just here riffing off the dome. All right, guys, just in case you didn't know. All right, let's go. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the minds to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. To die! Oh shit, fuck, that fucked my audio. I went too loud and it cut my audio. It's gonna be, holy shit. Yep, I just peaked. It's just a peak. But yeah, Jeremy, how you been otherwise, man? You can just pose me questions and then I'll just like rephrase the question and then I'll say it. Go on, ask me something.
Okay.
We were both gone while
So
Ariane
there we go.
Thanks.
I am recording.
went.
Did a Shakespearean monologue. You know what I do what I do.
Yeah, it was very good. He was
We
doing.
gave you
Is
the
this recording?
stage.
Hold on,
We gave
stop.
you an opportunity.
There we go.
You gave me the
It is
stage
ironic
and
that
I
Jeremy.
stepped
That
on
is
it and I
ironic that
took
Jeremy did not. Jeremy's audio was
it. His
lost.
audio is
now,
fucking
yeah.
out.
Let's get to
Nah.
recommendations. We're at an hour and 8 minutes, and let's get to recommendations. It'll be a bit of a shorter episode. That's fine. Let's get to Rex.
Cool.
Yeah, here we go.
I
Let's
don't want
close
to
it
go
out
first.
with
I have to think
recommendations,
about it.
baby. Okay. I'm trying to think of the fucking
I'll go-
thing. Oh,
Go on.
shit. Okay. I have a recommendation. Max, do you have one? All right, motherfucker. My recommendation of the week is the video game Ghost of Tsushima. For
Such
those
a
of
good
you
game.
who
Such a
Max
fucking
is
good
like,
game, man. That game is so
Bro.
good.
Monica got it for me. It's
That game
so
is so
good. Monica got
goddamn
it for me
good.
for my birthday just a couple weeks back. I started it. I didn't know exactly. I've heard people describe it as like Red Dead Redemption, but like you're a samurai.
No.
I've played Sucker Punches
No.
previous. Like I loved
No.
Infamous. I love the Sly Cooper games.
It's not Red
But
Dead.
it is open world in that way, and you have the horse. But of course, because there's the stealth and there's the fucking
different games.
But the way the game plays, but to me, having played both, I see why the comparisons are made, like the open world nature of it and like the
It's your
camps and missions and
recommendation,
shit.
so I'll stop
But
butting
yes,
in.
the actual gameplay. The gameplay is very, very different. I think it's so seamlessly weaves the fucking samurai combat with stealth, with the archery, and like the stories, the voice acting, just the feeling of culture in Japan. You can do a filter where you play Kurosawa mode, and it's like black and white, like the freaking iconic Japanese director. It's just, and the game, I'm maybe like 36, 40 hours in, and I feel like I've like barely done, what there is to do. And I just, you know what's so great about it too is like, I will really love like stories or things where I really feel immersed in it. What I love so much about Tsushima is like the actual gameplay mechanics are also so addictive on top of everything else. Like it's endlessly fun to just kill people. And yes, Max, how are you feeling about Tsushima?
Oh man, the lag is killing me. I agree. Really quick, because it's just so interesting to me, and it ties in. It's crazy that you recommended that, because I don't know if you know this or not, but it fits in so well with what we were talking about. I also heartily, I play a lot of games. Ghost of Tsushima is a fucking brilliant open world game. It's phenomenal. But it's made by an American studio. And there was a huge amount of controversy before it came out, because it is one of the few AAA mainstream games that takes place in Japan, not made by a Japanese studio. And people were kind of against it when it came. I mean, there was a lot of controversy, and not only did the game do so well internationally, it did brilliantly in Japan. It broke record sales, and in Tsushima, they made because the game did so well, they started restoring what are they called? The gates, the Torii gates. So
Torii gates?
because the game did so well, there were ancient Torii gates that basically the local government decided to rehabilitate and restore, because the game brought a renewed sense of history and attention. I mean, it's amazing, and the studio had a lot of controversy.
That's representation.
That's what I'm saying. The studio had a lot of controversy because they were Americans making a game about this area, and they did so well. They did it so beautifully and honestly. So that's all I say. Is it's so interesting you brought that up tonight of all episodes, because we just spent so much time talking about it, and there was a real controversy. There was a real controversy about it, and they. By all accounts, did an amazing job representing that land and area and story and culture. And God, that game is so good. The combat is so good. Okay.
Yeah. So good. I know. It's flawless. So, the listeners, world, don't be upset in a few years when you see me playing a Japanese man on the big screen. Thank you. This is my TED Talk. Okay, who's the next recommendation?
There you have it. I'm still thinking. Go, Max.
My recommendation, this is by the time you are listening to this, probably a few weeks late, maybe 2-3 weeks late, Bo Burnham's Inside on Netflix. Holy shit. I loved it. It was, in my opinion...
depressing.
No, I didn't think it was... at the end, I thought it was uplifting. I thought it was honest. I thought it was beautiful. It really touched me. It's the exact kind of art that I strive to make. I read a great review that was talking about how in our current, I'm trying to pick my words carefully. In our current kind of artistic culture in America, the way that art is, it's very ironic and self-aware. And Bo did a great job of that in the past. He had these comedy shows that were genius, but definitely ironic and kind of self-criticizing, and kind of tore himself down in a funny and smart, unique way. And it pointed out that this project was just genuine. It was just a guy saying, this is how I feel, and I want to put my feelings out there, and I'm going to express them as best as I can. And personally, I connected with it on a very deep level. I spent the last I cried my eyes out. I just loved it. So I know it's a little late, but if you're listening and by chance haven't watched it, I thought it was really unique. It is a very interesting project inherently because he films it all himself in one room the whole time. And yeah, I just loved it. I would really recommend that. I just loved it so much.
Yeah, my favorite song from it was one where he sings about FaceTiming his mom that night. And
Oh yeah,
it was very, very funny.
There's a few.
I like the dad. What's the dad lyric?
I don't know the lyric.
And it's the deepest
it's like
conversation
say
we
hi to your
had.
dad. It's like hi, how you going? Good.
Hi to
yeah.
your dad.
It's like they just say
Watch
hi,
it.
and it's the deepest
And that's the
conversation he's
deepest
ever had.
conversation we've ever had.
I gotta rewatch it. The one that I want to
Yeah, there's
learn
another
first
funny
is
one.
welcome.
White girl on
the
Instagram.
internet. What's the one? The welcome to the internet or whatever. That's not it. I'm messing up the lyric a little bit. But the
But I think I
White
know what
Woman
you're talking
Instagram
about.
one was the one where I went from this is good to this is great because I thought it started off. I was a
Yeah.
little iffy on it, almost like what's the point of this? And it starts off criticizing a white woman's Instagram, and by the end it was so sympathetic. Like he really did. Like I was like, oh my god. Like I don't know. God, did I love that special? I'm literally at a loss for words, as you can hear. I'm like stuttering over myself. I fucking love that special. So that's my recommendation.
Okay. Well,
Ariana
I
doesn't have
don't
anything
He's
to
going to
recommend.
recommend
Conjuring.
charcoal.
There's
He's going to
always
recommend
something.
charcoal at the end of the day.
Yeah, charcoal scrub. No, you know what I would recommend? I would recommend
What,
a
bruv?
piece of advice. A piece of advice that I heard earlier this week. And I do believe it's true.
Okay.
It starts with what is meant for you and inherently for you will always come to you. And then the
Okay.
second part is what you want and your goals and desires. You should stop stressing so much about them because your goals and desires want you and are running towards you more than you are running towards them. And I thought that was beautiful. Like
That's
what is
lovely.
meant for you in your
That
life.
really is.
You are on that track, but what is meant for you on your life is sprinting towards you.
Sure.
And you just can't see
That's
it.
beautiful.
So that's what I'll leave you with. And then some
Yeah.
charcoal scrub at the end of the day. Don't forget to put some sunscreen on.
That is beautiful. That's I will carry that with me.
We
for
love
sure.
that one. I did like that one. I did like that one.
Just to piggyback off Ariane, I just wanted to add a little. It's not a recommendation, just to piggyback off Ariane. I will say to motivate you guys, you don't actually have free will. The decisions you've made are the only decisions that could have happened based on your brain and conditioning and culture. So just trust that the decision's already made for you, and there's nothing you can do. You're just a passenger in your destiny of fate.
Are you kidding me?
And that's been the podcast, guys.
Are you for real?
Live life because it's already happening.
Jesus Christ, man. That's some existentialist. That's nihilistic as fuck. That's wildly nihilistic. I can't believe you find that motivating. Power to you. We can talk about that next week. Holy shit. That is.
It was a joke. Or was it? Or
Who knows
was
with
it?
you? What a fucking out of left
What does
field.
your
thing to
hoodie say? What does your
Oh,
hoodie
it's the
say, Jeremy?
Ye must be born again.
Ye
you know that
must
one, bro.
be born again.
Ye must be born again, bro. It's about Kanye. Like Drake and Pharrell have it and stuff. You know me, bro.
Kanye,
Sometimes I'm
Max. It's
I'm a
about
little IG
Kanye,
boy.
Max. It's about Kanye.
Okay, this is actually, I think it's actually positive, but you know why I like it? Because you could read it literally like Kanye must be born again, Ye must be born again, or you could take it
But
a
you
more
must
positive
be born
individual
again.
way. Exactly. Ye must be born again. Get rid of the parts of yourself that you're not proud of and be better tomorrow. And you know what? Maybe you do have a say. Maybe you do have choices. Maybe you can make a difference in your own life and then in the lives of your loved ones around you.
Yeah, sure.
But you must be born again.
Christ.
And maybe you can leave your family and have a threesome with some celebrities at the end of it.
Inshallah, like Taika,
Maybe.
we will find Dory.
What's the other one? If you're listening,
God help you if you've listened to this far.
If you listened, God, it's good to be back. I'm glad we're back.
And inshallah,
It's good to
Glad
be
we're
back.
back.
inshallah, we'll be back
All
next
right.
week.
Back next week, inshallah.
And guess what,
Ooh,
boys?
yes.
My audio did not
What?
even cut out one
Hey,
bit.
Jeremy's did,
I'm
and yours
looking at
didn't.
it, recording.
We have a podcast.
I could go on for hours.
But I'll edit it a little bit, and then
I
I'm
could go
going
on
to
for
record the
hours.
edit, and then, well,
Before we
we're going to
can
spread
I
those
say
hours out
something?
over the next few
Can I
weeks.
say something? One last thing before we
Yes.
end this.
Go on, big up
Yes.
yourself. Big up yourself.
I don't know if we said this before, but I
Yes.
want to give credit where credit is due. As it is right now, Jeremy is the only one editing the entirety of our podcast, and we deeply appreciate.
He's the
Ariane
man.
and I would like to learn, but Jeremy's
hey.
pulling is really pulling the weight.
We would like to
Not
learn,
just his
Jeremy.
weight, but the weight.
Well, thanks, guys.
Jeremy's been editing these all together, and we really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
my boys.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate that you
His-
appreciate it. It's
his
fun to
audio's
do,
cutting
you know?
out
It
now.
took longer in the beginning, but I got the system. Is it? Okay. It took a little longer in the beginning.
Get
I
your
got the
mic-
flow.
yeah,
I'm going to
your
record the edit
visor.
of this one.
He's
Okay, gosh
fucking
dang it.
wigging out on Discord again, but what is most unfortunate is that
We feel you, Jeremy.
it's recorded on personal audio, so we're just going to be cutting him off right now
I know,
as
we
he's
don't know.
talking. Anyway, hopefully this isn't too bad. Thanks
Maybe
for
we'll just mute
listening.
us.
I can hear you guys.
You mute us. All right. Well,
We'll
You guys
get
can't
you
hear me?
next
That's it.
week.
That's
it.
it,
We'll
folks.
catch you next week. Jeremy's gone. We love you. Thank you for listening.
Jeremy's
We
gone.
appreciate
He's
it.
gone. He just said fuck off.
At
All
not
right.
funny guy
Oh,
on
he's
all
still
the
there.
socials.
Oh yeah, add me at arian.kasam if you want to see fashion photos. That's fucking all
And
I have to offer on my Instagram.
I famously do not advertise my socials. If you want to follow me, you have to find me, and that's
He's got 20k followers. He's got 20k.
Famously. He famously does it. But thanks for listening. This has been Drama Queens.
Yeah.
we'll see you next
And
week.
we'll
that's
see
our
you
name,
next
yeah?
week.
Yeah, it's still our name. It's too late to go back.
I mean, for the time being.
We'll see you next week. Thank you for listening.
Say Drama Queens and Ariane. All right, peace. 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 Peace.